This is Travis Van Vleck, EDL 856, School and Community Relations. This is my case study, Screen-O-Matic, Summer School 2012, Fort Hays State. What we know from the case study, there's a new assistant principal, Mrs. Rose. This is Mrs. Rose's first admin job. There's a limited parental and community involvement at the school. The principal felt parents didn't want to be involved. Lack of involvement when he had tried in the past. The principal does not feel like change is needed. He says he has regular contact with some parents on the phone. It feels like that is more than enough to go off of. Continuing on what we know, the principal does agree to form an advisory group. An announcement was made to students to inform parents of the upcoming parental advisory group meeting. They sent that home in a newsletter on a Friday for a meeting on Monday. Only 8 parents showed up for the meeting, and the principal at this time, he wants to cancel the meeting. He doesn't feel like there's any point to continue with just 8 people. Continuing what we know, for what and how did the school try to get parental involvement in the past? That's what we need to know. What are some ways other schools are getting good parental involvement? What we need to know, are we allowed to use social media to get the message out? What's the school's policy on that? Has the principal ever had some success anywhere in getting others involved? Maybe not at this school, but at others. And I would like a community profile. What type of people make up this community? Some demographic information. Just so we have some background knowledge. We're new to the area. It'd be important to know the group of people we're working with. Identifying the problem. There's no comprehensive program with parental and community involvement. The community's not involved, parents aren't involved. The principal does not care if there is any contact with the parents or the community at this time. So that's the problem. Our proposed plan of action with appropriate strategies for implementation. Our plan of action. The first thing, I would continue with the meeting with 8 parents. It has to go forward. They have to feel like they showed up and didn't waste their time, and that something is going to change. At least you got 8. It could be worse. Use the parents to help lure others in. Everybody knows someone. If all 8 of those people bring one person next time, we've already doubled our number to 16. Have an informal meeting where everyone gets the opportunity to speak. Let them feel like their opinions matter. They showed up. They obviously care about what's going on. Find out why are they there. What would be the best way, in their opinion, to reach out to others. Figure out what's important to them. Obviously, they showed up for some particular reason. We got to figure that out, and maybe that will help bring others in. Continuing on our plan of action, gather as much data as possible. What are good nights to meet? Ask them those types of questions. How often do they want to meet? Set up a date for the next meeting. We got them here. Let's get them to commit to something. Give principal assurance that not alone in this endeavor. This is a team, and I'm willing to take the lead, but I do not want to feel like I have to take this on by myself, and I don't want the principal to feel like I'm trying to take this completely over. And discuss a plan for the next meeting and how to get more people there. I'd like to discuss that with the principal. Work with the principal, superintendent, and school board to see if we can establish a Facebook page for the school. I think that would be huge in helping get the word out. To me right now, that's the #1 way to get information out to people. It seems like everyone's on Facebook. It doesn't matter if you're a teenager, a young adult, older adult, even senior citizens are using Facebook. And it'll also reach not just parents, but it'll also reach community members who do not have children involved in the school. I'd put the article in the local newspaper for the date of the next meeting. It can't hurt. Most newspapers won't even charge you for that. Utilize a sign in front of the high school with dates and times of the next meeting. Send newsletters home, and use the current district webpage. There's lots of different ways to get that information out there. Use them. Use them to your advantage. Plan of action, continuing. Keep all stakeholders informed of what's going on up to the meeting. So the principal, the superintendent, school board, up until the meeting, let them know what you're doing. Keep giving them some updates. Simple email Simple phone call will go a long ways there. Ask feedback from everyone on what they feel is working and not working. Principal or someone sees something that I'm doing like, that's not going to work, we tried that. I want that input. I don't want to waste my time. I want to get this thing moving forward as quickly as possible. Be prepared for the next meeting. A well thought out agenda. A lot of times with parents, if you can get an hour of their time in their busy schedules, that's great. Make sure you utilize all of that time. Be prepared. Create a community profile during that time period before the next meeting. Community is made up of what kinds of people? Do we have wealthy community? We do have a poverty community. What are all the demographics that we're dealing with? And then create a couple of advisory groups who might help us moving forward on what is the best plan of action to maybe get a PTO going. After the second meeting, meet with the principal to let him know where we are and what I feel is the best way to proceed. Meet with the different groups created, those different advisory groups. We might meet separately and work with them to make sure all groups created are given a chance to succeed. Sometimes we put all of our time and energy towards one certain group and other groups are left alone. We can't do that. We don't have enough people to start with, so make sure when we do get these groups together, they feel like they matter. They need an opportunity to succeed. What is best for the students? Well, the students have a parental and community involvement. They have to have that. There's not much right now. 8 parents just showed up for the first meeting. We may have had more if we had advertised it better. You're sending a note home with the kids, with high school students especially, you're not going to get a lot of those notes home. Even at a small school, just 8 people is not very many. We've got to get that number up quickly. When parents are involved, students will do better. We know that. Studies have shown that. When community is involved, kids do better. We got to figure out a way to get more people involved. That's what's best for the students. What is best for the students continued on? My plan will get parents involved. Okay, we got to be persistent and patient. Okay, patience is going to be the key here. It's gone a long time without having anything put into place. We gotta take some time, not rush through this, make sure that we've done it right. We have a lack of interest from the principal as well. What's best for the students is to get him involved. Obviously, the person's in that position because people believe in their ability to do the job. We just gotta try to encourage them and get the best out of there. The principal has tried in the past to get involved parents. It shows me he does care. They do want to have that partnership with parents. They looked for parent volunteers in the cafeteria and it failed. Also stated they had meetings and very few showed up. With success, I hope to get a renewed interest from the principal. Do not push him aside. Get to the point where he is excited to help. I think all too often, we get a burnt out person in any position and we just want to push them aside. How about let's fire them up. Let's get them motivated again to do what they originally wanted to do. The principal obviously at one point in time thought that the community relations was very important. And when he struck out time and time again, he just gave up. And like most of us, feel like that in life sometimes when we're not doing well at something. But I feel like if we get some success going, it's going to snowball. And let's get that principal involved. Let's use him rather than just push him aside. What was I thinking and valuing and feeling? The task Mrs. Rose is taking on is huge. It's a massive task for a first-year administrator. It's a tough task for anybody. And when your school has no community relations at all, you're taking on a huge task. Doesn't mean it can't be done, it's just tough. Working with a principal who is worn out and lost hope. That's what I was thinking. That's what Mrs. Rose is doing. It feels like a school where people have gone too long without caring. And that's not necessarily everybody, but when the community is not involved and parents aren't involved, that shows a lack of partnership and people who may not care too much about the school. With no involvement for that long, I was not surprised by the low parent turnout. It's just like in anything in life. I coach wrestling. I had 4 kids out my first year trying to get people involved. It's a very slow process. Now I've got over 20 kids out 5 years in. The program was down for many years. Now it's up and running. We're doing quite well. State qualifiers, state placers. And now our numbers are going up. Okay, so when you have involvement by lots of people, more and more people will join in. It takes time, energy, and patience to reverse this long negative trend. It's been a long time since they've had anything positive. You got to give it time. What else was I thinking and feeling and valuing? The principal had not cared for quite some time. He did allow the meeting to happen. Allowing the meeting to happen is key. To me, it's a feeling he might still care. Note home is okay, but too short of notice and should have tried more than one way to get the info out about the meeting. Don't disregard newsletters. A lot of people use that as their best form. They don't have internet. They may not read the newspaper. Okay, so don't just throw out newsletters because they're old school, but don't depend on it to be your only form of communicating with parents. I also felt like the first meeting was rushed and not well thought out. I mean, you went so long without anything. Why rush into it Friday to Monday? Makes very little sense to me. At least take a week to try to put something together constructive. The school had the feeling of a traditional school that is behind the times. Newsletters, quick turnaround, not using the community, not using different media outlets. Seems very old school. Think it is past time to make positive relationships with community leaders in the media. When he's talking about how long it's been, hasn't really done anything, we got to get something going. Issues that are unresolved. A plan is in place but must be implemented to effectively improve school-community relations. My plan is to get people involved, get that information out to them. We still got to do it. Did the parental involvement get better? That's going to be one of the big things that tells us if we did a good job in basically advertising our next meeting. Did people show up? I cannot do it on my own. I have to have people help me. One person can't take on a task like this. So we must change the attitude of the principal. He wants to cancel the meeting. I got to get him to stay on board, and let's go ahead and do this meeting. We must create a strong relationship with that principal, and let's reverse this thought process. And currently there's no PTO. It hasn't been started. We just have an advisory group in place. We need to get to that point where we have one. All right, reflections on standard 4. Collaborate with families and community members. First collaboration took place with a meeting with 8 parents. We had 8. Move on with it. We gained value info on why they were there. So that helped out. We took down data on how we can reach out to more parents. We valued input from all the stakeholders that showed up. We developed new ways to reach parents, webpage, Facebook, newsletters, newspapers, signs in the community. However we can reach them, we need to use it. And follow-up meeting with those groups. Diverse needs and interests of the community of an ongoing basis. We collected data that showed me the diverse makeup of the community. Who are the leaders in the community? What are community needs? Economic status of the community, other demographic information, anything that can help us get a better understanding of the community, that can help me get better community support. We started to use various ways to reach all patrons of the community, again, newspapers, web pages, newsletters, etc. Mobilize community resources to address and help solve problems. We created an advisory group to figure out the best way to help bridge the gap between school and community. We worked with administrators and the school board on the best ways to proceed. The Facebook page is going to be very important in my opinion. So we worked with the administrators and the school board on getting that Facebook page up and running. So we can reach out to everyone in the community, not just parents. And we look to other schools for ideas on how to solve problems. You don't have to come up with all your own ideas. Don't reinvent the wheel. If other people are doing positive things, piggyback off those and use them for yourself. This is Travis Vleck, and this is my case study, Screen-O-Matic, and I hope I had everything I needed. It was pretty in-depth in a short amount of time. Thanks for watching.